go ahead and stand and sing a song. I'm here to remind you, go ahead and stand up. Please. Real flowy. I'm mellow this morning, right? Feel good. Feel safe. Are you ready? I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the worthy that you are. I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved. You're here to remind me of my magnificence, to help me awake to all the joy I'm worthy of. You long to show me all the joy I'm worthy of. You're here to remind me how much I'm truly loved. I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the beauty that you are. I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved. Think of your fellow neighbors here. I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help me awake to all the joy I'm worthy of. You long to show me all the joy I'm worthy of. You're here to remind me how much I'm truly loved. You're here to remind me. You're here to remind me how much I'm truly loved. You may have a seat.
That was a beautiful song. Whichever one of the two of you chose that song for today's service, I think it's good. Would the usher bring forward the prayer box, please?
So we remind ourselves how much we are truly loved by that absolute, by that divine, by that which is always whole, that which is one. So all of these prayers that have been written down, all of the prayers that are in our hearts. We hold this. We offer this. And we open ourselves to that awareness of the absolute love that is ours. And so it is. Amen.
The daily word for today is one presence. The presence and power of God is always with me, available to me in all situations. How empowering it feels to know that the same creative force responsible for extensive galaxies and brilliant sunrises is also a part of who I am and who you are. The more I cooperate by consciously acknowledging and allowing Spirit to work in and through me, the better things are in my life. God is the one presence. If I feel opposed, separated, or influenced negatively, it is because I have distanced or I have blocked myself from this goodness. If I feel separation, it is up to me to reopen my mind, heart, and life to that flow of good that is always seeking me. I affirm, I am one with God, open and receptive to divine love, light, wisdom, and life. Let us say that together. I affirm, I am one with God, open and receptive to divine love, light, wisdom, and life. Today's daily word comes from Ephesians 4:6. One God and Father of all, who is above all, and through all, and in all. So this word leads us deeper into our service as we prepare for today's actual lesson. And in preparation, let us take a moment to get in the silence of ourselves. We take a breath and let us together remember the prayer that Jesus taught his disciples as we say this together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Reverend Karen, if you will come forward.
And let us move deeper. Take a deep breath. Allow your mind to quiet itself. Gently say, slow down. Slow down. This is the heart. This is the heart. This is our heart, my heart, your heart. So we open ourselves to the awareness of the allness of that which we term God or Spirit. Ultimate reality. We open ourselves to ultimate reality. are that. And as we quiet our personality, our ego, we have the opportunity to experience this truth of who we are. We are one with that inexhaustible resource of spirit. We are that inexhaustible resource of spirit. We are divine love. Simply allow that for a moment. Love. I am that. And this awareness and experience of love wells up from within me. Fills me to overflowing. Love, that creative power of all that is me. Is me. Allow that divine joy. Joy in the process of creation. I am that. And allow peace that comes with experience of oneness. And in that peace, let us move deeper into the quiet of our innermost being, into the silence. I'm in this place of deep awareness. Allow those human concerns. Just allow them. Opening. Here. This. In the presence and the awareness of this power, this love, this wholeness. We reach out to those broader concerns and awarenesses in our human experience, our human world. Offering here, wholeness. Let me know, at least within my own self, and be that support of the truth. Of divine mind, divine love, divine joy, divine peace. And as we say, thank you, I am in this moment growing in that awareness. And as each one of us continues on that path, we say, so it is. Amen. Yeah, so it is. We have a responsibility to know that for ourselves and for the world. Well, I think it's kind of interesting how different things come together. So I had not really picked today's topic when we've been discussing about shifting the wording just a little bit on our opening statement to simply God, the Absolute. But as the week went on and we began our first Wednesday night class, which is Heart-Centered Metaphysics. Okay. I think I want to speak a little bit more about what this is all about. So what is metaphysics? Metaphysics is unity theology. What is theology? It is the study of God. That's what the word means. So you hear other people talk about their theology or whatever, it means that's their study of God. So we use the metaphysical process as our study of God. And what do we mean by God? So when we look at this ultimate reality, now that's where we go with all of these words, and how do we break through the terminology we're so used to using? Ultimate reality. And I love this little phrase that probably many of you know. You drew a circle and shut me out. I drew a circle and brought you in. So in our understanding of God, it is that circle that brings everything in. And so there's no need for us to have any sense of, oh, you're doing it wrong, you haven't got it right. No, we're the ones that have it right. No, this ultimate reality which encompasses everything, so it encompasses their understanding of reality also. So the other thing to understand as I get talking about unity theology is there's no requirement in any way, shape, or form for you to accept this belief and teaching. This belief and teaching comes through human understanding. And so you have the responsibility of going, oh, yeah, that makes sense, or I want to explore that a little bit, or nope, that's not how I understand it. So there's no requirement in unity that you accept this. What is a requirement if you're going to kind of be participating here is, well, what is my relationship? What is my understanding of God? Because that's what we're about, to provide that space for people to learn and grow and to explore. And something that doesn't make sense now may make perfect sense down the way. And something that makes perfect sense now, you may move and go, no, that's not where I am now. So it's your personal responsibility. But it's my responsibility sometimes to at least let you know what we are teaching here. So what is metaphysics? Metaphysics explores beliefs and concepts that are above and beyond the physical plane. So meta, above, beyond, more than, physics is physical. However, and this, I get real excited sometimes when reading about quantum physics. When you really read a lot of the writers, quantum physics, metaphysics, the physical sciences are beginning to realize somehow there's an interrelationship here. They don't know what it is, but science is beginning to realize, and mainly at that quantum level, they don't have a clue. They can see things, they can observe things, they don't have a clue why it's operating that way. So what's in spirituality, a lot of what science is coming to, spirituality has been teaching those principles using very different words and processes for thousands and thousands of years. But it's exciting when you begin to see some of the practicalities. Oh, that's how that operates. That's what that meant. But heart-centered metaphysics explores ultimate reality, so our idea of God, through the lens of the heart, ensuring these beliefs represent more than just cold, hard facts. So how does that relate to me? What is this all about? And Dean, I think you said you took a metaphysics class down at Auburn, and it was really all about being up here, right?
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, metaphysics is not necessarily a spiritual practice. It's just looking beyond. So here's a definition from Charles Fillmore, but it's basically your standard one from the dictionary. So what is metaphysics? It is a systemic study of the science of being, that which transcends the physical. By pure metaphysics is meant a clear understanding of the realm of ideas and their legitimate expression. Okay, y'all are responsible for a clear understanding of the realm of ideas and the best and most appropriate way to express that. So you can see, this is, no matter how you look at it, it is a big, big process. So when we're studying unity metaphysics, we're studying one only perspective of this branch of philosophy that is not new, it's out there. Many, many people are involved in its study. We are studying those realities that are true, this is a capital T true, we're going to talk about that, concerning the inner life of every human being. So that's our only focus. So fairly narrow slice of this whole pie of metaphysics. So unity metaphysics asks some of these questions. What is the nature of God? What is the nature of humankind? What is the relationship between God and humankind? And we're not going to answer all those questions this morning. Thank you very much. Here's a whole book. It's going to take us at least, not all at one time, probably in 10 or 12 week sections, but the class that is offered for credit is 40 hours. 40 hours in this one book. So you're not going to get it in 20 minutes. So when we look about these teachings, so this begins with, what is the unity meaning of truth? So when we say truth with a capital T, what are we talking about? So we use it in a very special way. In unity, we do not mean all the truth there is, nor do we mean all the facts that are known. So keep that in mind. We use the word in connection with divine ideas as they relate to our understanding of God or ultimate reality. Unity teachings use this term when they ask, here's another list using slightly different words, what is the character of God? How does God create? What is the real character of humankind? What relationship does humankind bear to its source? So you see, these are really big questions. What is the ultimate destiny of humankind and the universe? Wow. The ultimate destiny. You know, and that kind of, what is my purpose here? What's going to happen? Be very aware when people say, this is the way it is, this is what's going to happen. Let me tell you, this is, question your own self when you feel like you have an absolute grasp on that in your intellect. Now, many people do have an experience and a connection with a knowingness of the oneness. But any of you, and I have to tell you, I've never had it in that way of ultimate awareness. But anybody that has had it can't explain it. You know, it's beyond the capability of words. Though I think a lot of religious leaders and teachers, you know, that's what they're trying to do, and we get all these different variations on how to approach God because somebody had an experience and it was powerful and meaningful, and they're trying to put it into words, and so they put it into their words, and you people out there hear it and translate it into their words, and now we have 527 varieties of whatever major religion is out there. You know, it's all in all these different buckets. So part of this process is keeping your mind and your heart open so that you begin to become aware, when do I have an experience? Now, I said I've never had one of these that I really felt connected with the universe, but on very regular times when I'm sitting quietly. Sometimes I'm even driving. It was kind of that way this morning because as I was driving along, and I get to drive through some kind of open countryside, and there was low-lying fog, and things were coming up kind of like in a mist, and it was like, oh yeah, oh yeah, this is beautiful, this is powerful, thank you. And so having those awarenesses and know those and allowing that to kind of be who you are, to know, okay, when I get into, you know, being upset about something, something's not going the right way, or I'm worried, treasure those moments because they are connected with that divine oneness. So, we understand truth with a capital T to be absolute, unchanging, unlimited, and complete. Let me say that again. Absolute, unchanging, unlimited, and complete. So anything else, any thought, idea that does not have these characteristics may certainly be true in our humanness and in the human sense, but is not truth with a capital T. Absolute, unchanging, unlimited, and complete. So you think about what goes on in your mind, what goes on in your life. How many things in your life are absolute, unchanging, unlimited, and complete? As you're sitting here now, how are your thoughts shifting and changing? We know our physical body, every second, every minute is shifting and changing. There's nothing out here that we can see that isn't ultimately shifting and changing. That does not mean that in our physical life things are not true. We can operate, we can know, we can be truthful in things that we say, but that is not the ultimate in reality. So what kinds of things don't change? So one of the things of going into the silence is each one of us has the capacity and the ability to make a connection with that oneness. And you know, even our language, you know, I say make a connection with the oneness, makes it sound like we're outside the oneness. And the oneness, no, it is here, but it's all this that's going on up here, all the stuff that changes constantly, that, you know, what did Paul say? You know, now I see through a mirror darkly. You know, so it's kind of like we've got all this fog, and we let go of the fog and we can begin to go, oh, yeah, this is what it really is. And as I move into that, what does that do? What does that do for me as a person? You can, even for a moment, tap into that idea that there's a part of me that will never change. It's not my body, it's not my thoughts, it's not my ideas, but I am part of that absolute reality. Whew, can you take a deep breath and go, oh, doesn't mean I'm not going to get caught up out here as things shift and change. But when it really comes down to it, can I let go of that deep fear that we have, that most of us don't want to explore, because it really has to do with this physical body disappearing. But when you can get in touch with something that is deeper and more connected than this physical body, that fear disappears. Fear goes away. The other interesting thing is that as humans, we have this ability to identify the absolute, to have the experience of the absolute, and to participate in the changing process. That's a fairly unique situation. You know, give ourselves some pats on the back. It just takes a little bit of practice and knowing and thinking about that, yes, there is this, and there is that deep, silent pool of absoluteness. However you as an individual, I as an individual, describe that, feel that, all of that. So part of your job is saying, how do I describe that? What is that experience for me? Because what feels very peaceful and relaxing for me, you may be going, I don't even want to think about going there. And the same way, you know? So it's our personal responsibility to make that connection. So in this truth with a capital T, so things rest on this changeless idea of divine ideas. So here's a couple of examples. The divine idea behind a flower is beauty. Think about it. Divine idea is beauty. Divine idea behind music is harmony. And I like those two examples because, well, what's my idea of beauty? My idea of beauty may be very different from your idea of beauty. So that's changeable, but the idea of beauty itself is absolute. You know, flowers change and die. Paintings, you know, if you're like me, you love to go to art shows and you see what somebody spent hours or days or even years on it, you go, oh, no. And, you know, the things that you think are beautiful and you hear other people doing exactly the same thing you are. Same thing with music, you know. So that a divine idea of harmony, and I've actually seen this expressed. If you have somebody who is raised in the Middle East or in India, their idea of harmony is a whole different tonal scale than what the Western idea of harmony is. However, harmony is that divine idea. It's expressed in so many different ways. Now what about love? So love, that unconditional, divine love, is a divine idea that does not change. However, what does change is our ability to understand that or express that or receive it. All of those things change, but that divine idea, that God love, that agape, is always there. God does not get angry. God does not punish people by sending hurricanes and earthquakes and fires. That is not ultimate reality in any way, shape, or form. Those things are all part of the relative process of life and creation and things happening. God is that divine idea of love. So all our thoughts and ideas are relative. And we know that. You know, things change. I think about things differently. I think about things differently right now, this minute, as I'm standing up here doing this, and then I thought about when I was putting it down on paper, and I'm looking and going, you know, how do I want to say that? Or how does that fit? All of this. And all of you, you know, in the moment, you find yourself distracted looking out. So think about that. What is relative is all of that which changes. And so I like this kind of word train: consciousness, thought, idea. Now, all of those have levels, starting with the idea of consciousness. And this is beginning to be a very interesting study from science, because nobody knows what consciousness is. Consciousness, as they're beginning to realize, doesn't reside only in the brain. But we don't know what that means. But they're doing things realizing that it's more than. But then, consciousness. What is consciousness, this part of this absolute? Is the absolute consciousness? So just hold that as questions in your mind. Thought. So we have consciousness. We can be conscious, absolutely, without thinking. Now, that's part of the meditative and quieting processes to allow the mind not to be asleep, to be totally aware, but without thoughts progressing through that. And of course, then ideas come from that thought process. So we have all kinds of ideas related to those divine ideas. So the absolute and the separate are not, the absolute and the relative are not separate from each other. So again, in languaging, it makes it seem like, oh, this is the absolute over here, and here's the relative out here. No, they're not separate, because the absolute is all that is. All of the rest of it happens within as that process. The wave in the ocean, you know, the wave is totally part of the ocean, but it's very temporary, very fleeting, and can be anything from, you know, this tiny ripple to these amazing huge waves that we've been seeing caused by the storm. So keeping that in mind, they are not separate. So shifting our awareness from the relative to the absolute. So this is a practice. Can I begin to get quiet enough to shift my consciousness from that which is constantly going on to move into this place of where things don't change? So this shift and moving of our thoughts from relative to absolute is the process of affirmation. So I'm going to talk about this whole idea of affirmation, which I've done in many different ways over time. But one of the problems with affirmation is if I just say some nice good things about, okay, here's something that's going on in my life, and I'm going to affirm that's not true. You know, I'm really having, and I don't like to be too specific, but if I'm experiencing an illness, I'll say that's not the truth of my being. I am whole and well. If I do that just on the surface of my mind, what happens? Not a lot. I say that knowing that even in this relative process, if I begin to shift my thinking from a really negative fear-based process to a positive process, that will have an effect both on my mental, physical, all of those kinds of things. But the real affirmative process is to go to that place. What is the absolute? What is the absolute? This divine presence, this all that is. Can that absolute be sick? Can it be depressed? Can it be broke? Can it be without a job? Can it be all of these negative things? So we move into that place. So here is my relative mind going to the place of the absolute. Now, in that awareness of the absolute, and I am that absolute, I can make the affirmation that the truth of me is wholeness. Because I've taken the time, I've moved in to that connection of all that is. The truth of me is wholeness. And I use that word wholeness deliberately because that encompasses anything that may be going on in our lives. So because if I say the truth of me is health, in our humanness, where does our mind absolutely go? As soon as I say the word health and I'm dealing with a health issue, my mind goes to that place. So the truth of me is wholeness. So in closing, I want us just to practice this for just a few moments. So let's begin by focusing on that truth, that understanding of what is that I am, what is that oneness. So you can close your eyes, you can do whatever that helps you, moving into that place of oneness. I am one with the one. Just allow that. The truth of my being is unchangeable. Never changes. The truth never changes. The absolute God, ultimate reality, cannot be less than whole. The absolute God, ultimate reality, is wholeness. Is wholeness. Whatever challenge is going on in your life right now, know that that is not the truth, the absolute truth. Be in that place of knowing wholeness. And then let yourself say these words within yourself. Therefore, the truth of me is wholeness. The truth of me is wholeness. Take a deep breath, bring yourself back. Okay, we took a couple of minutes to do that, realizing you can do the same thing. You can do it quicker, you can do it longer, knowing the truth of you is wholeness. That is the absolute and so.
All right, we're going to go ahead and stand and sing another song. There is Love. It's a beautiful, flowy song this morning. John McEwen. There is love in and through us and them and me and you, like the wind through the trees, like the salt within the sea. There is love full of power, and it's growing by the hour as we live here in God's amazing grace. That's the melody of the whole song. Ready? There is joy in a song, every creature great and small, in the water. special treat. We have Dean's going to come up and do his original song for us, Protennoia. Thank you. Move this out of the way. Thank you, Dean.
I've been asked a couple of times when I've done this song for the words, so we printed out the words and put them in the bulletin. And I want to call your attention to the title of the song, which is Protennoia. That's a Coptic word that means first thought. And I thought, well, how can I explain first thought? And I thought, well, that's already done for us. So if you want to turn your Bible to Genesis chapter 1, verse 3, I'm going to read it for you so you don't have to if you don't want to. It says, "And God said, let there be light, and there was light." So was that not the first thought? And then when we look at the words of the song, thought that dwells in the light, movement that dwells in the all, invisible one within the all. I am a voice speaking softly. I exist from the first. I dwell within the silence that surrounds everyone. And it's a hidden voice that dwells within me and within thee. Silence, she is, called by 3 names, although she dwells alone, since she is perfect. Protennoia. Now, springboarding from our sermon that we just had, this is a relative truth. It's nothing but a tool to help us maybe find that absolute truth that's within us. So I invite you as I play to bring the stillness in your mind and listen for that silence within, that still small voice.